The president is humiliated by this outcome. He understands that he's lost the election.
So Donald Trump is apparently humiliated that he lost the election, which is why he's been in hiding for 8 days. So before I get any deeper into this, let me play this clip from CNN's John Harwood.
Let's go to CNN's John Harwood. He is at the White House for more. It's been days, John, since we've seen the president.
It has, and it's really an extraordinary situation that's unfolding here, Jim. First of all, the president is humiliated by this outcome. He understands that he's lost the election, but he does not want to face that music publicly, so he's been hiding out in the White House, hasn't been talking before cameras as he typically does every day for a week now. Second thing he's trying to do is turn this situation to his advantage. So he's throwing up these bogus lawsuits, which aren't going anywhere, that are getting tossed out of court as fast as he files them to try to string this out. He's fundraising for his political action committee as well as his legal defense fund. And he's trying to create a cause, a sense of grievance going forward, so he'll have something to rally his supporters around. As a matter of fact, the New York Times is reporting that when he finally accepts reality that he's going to be leaving, he may announce a 2024 presidential bid at the same time, which would allow him to say, well, maybe I kind of sort of lost, but really the campaign's just going on and it'll culminate in 4 years. The one thing the president is not doing is taking control of the effort to stop this pandemic. He does not seem to be interested in actually being president at this moment. He does have on his schedule today the first coronavirus-related piece of government business, which is a meeting about Operation Warp Speed. That's about the vaccine. He's not trying to stop the actual spread of the pandemic. He's always invested his hopes in the vaccine. As you mentioned, his Republican support is beginning to crack around the edges about things like getting intelligence briefings, but the Republican Party, which is so scared of the president and wants his support in these Georgia runoffs, is not forcing him to do anything more aggressive on the pandemic itself as these cases and hospitalizations and deaths continue to rise, Jim.
All right. Now, as usual, of course, this is all about Donald Trump. He's feeling humiliated. Hasn't spoken in 8 days, hasn't been doing any work at all. He's been golfing, though. We've seen that. Because he's the quintessential narcissist. He always plays the victim. It amazes me that anybody finds strength in this man. He is so incredibly weak. What an actual leader would do after they lose an election is first concede, admit they lost, and then work as hard as they can in these last couple months to try and maybe stop a pandemic or limit the damage that this pandemic is doing to millions of lives. But you are seeing skyrocketing cases of COVID-19, and Trump is doing absolutely nothing to stop it. Now, what he is doing, though, is raising money, trying to stay relevant by raising money for his election fraud defense fund, whatever the hell he's calling it, where if you look into the fine print, as I've done this in other videos, you look at the fine print of where that money goes. 60% of it goes to his new PAC. It's not going to fight election fraud. It's going to his new PAC, a PAC that will be used to back Republican politicians, which is why you're seeing a lot of GOP senators, not a lot, the vast majority of them, of members of the GOP, not coming out and acknowledging that Joe Biden has won the election, that Trump has lost, because they want a piece of that money. He's going to attempt to continue having influence over this party and even potentially run in 2024, which also means that Joe Biden, whatever Joe Biden does, it has to be transformational. Joe Biden has to show people that there is a clear difference between the last 4 years of Donald Trump and the first 4 years of Joe Biden. If there isn't a clear difference, if Joe Biden and his administration don't offer real help to people, then we may be looking at Donald Trump, President Donald Trump in 2024. So this is why you can't just hope that Joe Biden does well, but you have to be actively engaged. Whether that's through, local groups, whether it's through running yourself, whether it's, being engaged in activism, maybe being a part of a march on Washington for something like Medicare for All is an idea that's floating around. But be a part of the movement that is necessary to actually push for any real change. So, or because if that doesn't happen, I am actually afraid that Donald Trump could come back and win again. So there has to be some real push for change here. And ultimately, though, this comes down to, once again, Trump being the ultimate narcissist.